third point is about the co-evolution. Evolution, and in one word, co-evolution means evolving together between technology and humanity. Technology and humanity, a co-evolution. Humankind made itself human. We're not exactly a natural species. We made ourselves humans with technology. From a biological substrate, yes, but through a long history of co-evolution. There was a co-evolution with the ecosphere. It has been transformed by us, nature, the ecosphere. And the technosphere. Of course, it's been created by us. It is transformed by us, but it transforms us at the same time. So, humankind and the technosphere, they are in a co-evolution process. At first, there was only Darwinian evolution, natural evolution, up to Homo sapiens, or down to Homo sapiens. Then, technological evolution arrives, starting in prehistory. Stone Age means technological evolution taking over natural evolution. Then bronze, then every technology, like in particular writing, printing, then the steam machine, finally digital technology. In this process, what is at stake is humanization. And in humanization, technological does not mean artificial as opposed to natural. Or better, artifact does not mean non-human or anti-human. I can prove that simply with language. Language and something else. Walking on our legs. These are techniques, learned techniques. It is not natural. We have learned it, and it was hard to learn. Still hard to learn another language, and maybe you don't remember, but it was hard to learn walking on two legs. In the case of language, it is entirely artificial. There are different languages. They are largely arbitrary. So a language is an artifact. Maybe walking on one's legs is more natural. But can we say that an artifact like language make us less human? Of course not. Something who would have no human language and we would not even walk on its legs. This is not human. This is not entirely human. Being human means to walk on one's legs and to use a language. So we are human through artificial learned techniques such as language, walking, and others. You see where it goes. I want to insist on the co-evolution. Why co? Because we shape our technology and our technology shapes and modifies us. How so? We can start with language. Language evolution, the changes in languages, are permanent. Every generation brings with it changes in vocabulary, in grammar, pronunciation. This is well known, well documented. We are changed by language. Our mind has been shaped by language, and we know that when people learn different languages, they have differently shaped mind. That's why it is important to learn other languages, and possibly very different languages, because it gives you a capacity to see the world differently, to shape, to perceive situations according to different shapes. So we change language, language changes us. That's for language, but physical tools, it's even worse. We have been changed by the car, the invention of the car, the automobile, for instance, and trucks. We are far less strong and resistant. We cannot walk for a very, very long time and distance because of cars, because of trains, and carry heavy things, because of trucks and artifacts like that. So our bodies have been changed by these artifacts. More interesting even, computers. How our computers have transformed us, and we have transformed our computers. It is still in process. Because of computers, our capacity in mental calculation is plummeted, it went down. What kind of mental calculation can we do? Maybe our memory. How many telephone numbers do we remember? Maybe our spelling capacity, because of word processor correcting our spelling. Plato in ancient Greece already said that. Plato argued against writing, the invention of writing. He said, with writing, people will lose the capacity to memorize long texts, long pieces of language. People can memorize them in oral culture. But once they can read and write, they will not use and they will lose this memorization capacity. And the fact is, he was right. We have lost it. But I confess, I am happy my Molière or my Shakespeare is printed on books and I don't have to memorize it as it was necessary before with Homer's Iliad, for instance. In oral culture, you just have the literature that's in your memory. But now we have the literature before that was in our libraries, and we have now the literature which is in the cloud, that is on the internet, that is we have all the literature in the world, all the painting, all the music, without having to remember it, just needing a device to access it. Here again, Kranzberg's law says it all. On the reverse side, computers have transformed us, as I said. But we have, something is lacking. They have made us, they restored in us the capacity for game and playing. Before, playing was something of childhood. And now, a lot of adults spend a lot of time in computer games, on computer games, with computer games, or smartphone games, or things like that. Well, it can be not entirely positive, I agree, but Kranzberg law, again. So we have been transformed by our computers, but we have transformed our computers too. In the beginning, computers were very serious stuff for professionals, programmers. And I remember in the 1980s, I started with the MS-DOS console. And there was no keyboard mistake allowed. Just one key, wrong key, and everything is lost. And after that came Windows and Apple, Macintosh, things like that. And now we have the smartphone that a 4-year-old child can master in, let's say, 4 minutes. This is how we, the ordinary user, have changed what computers are. We have shaped the present software and hardware of computers and smartphones and everything digital. Everything now, every software or hardware is what is called plug and play. That is to say, there is no instruction book to learn. And it's the same with almost every device. You don't need instruction books. Things are just plug and play. It's natural, but this natural is not natural at all. It's good technology. It's so artificial that it looks natural. Exactly as when you have a powerful enough computer, you don't need programming. You can have Macintosh or Windows system, which is easy to use because it's powerful. And so more technology means easy technology. And this is what we want. This is our ordinary user effort to change technology, like a law of simplification. And there's also a law of gamification. It's like a game. When you have a new smartphone, you can have games on it, but just understanding the new kind of desktop or computer, or how your message board or anything will work is like playing a game. It's pleasant to do and easy. All this leads to the idea of, in co-evolution, there are certain laws. There are laws of Darwinian evolution, but they are also laws of technological co-evolution. The following ones I suggest. First, there is a miniaturization law. It means smaller is better. As you know, the first computers were buildings, entire buildings, tons of electronics. After that, the average computer occupied a room, an air-conditioned room. After that, it was something to put desktop computer, fairly heavy one. After that, laptops. After that, tablets. And now, a phone like this. As you know, I suppose you know, there is more computation capacity in a phone like this than what was necessary for the Apollo mission to reach the moon, for special missions in the 60s. They had less calculation capacity than in a simple phone, which is so much smaller. So miniaturization, smaller is better. Another law, dematerialization. It means non-material, digital is better in the cloud. For intellectuals, there is a tragedy now. Books and libraries. The space required in our homes by books. Because when you buy now an electronic book, it takes no space at all. Same thing for movies. You can have hundreds, thousands of movies and books, and normally we have thousands of books and films on hard drives, occupying no place, and maybe not physically on a hard drive, but in the cloud. Books on Amazon, the electronic books, are on Amazon servers, and you can access them from everywhere. So your library is nowhere or somewhere in server farms, but in fact, it is called ambient technology. It's nowhere and everywhere. You just need a device to access it. That is dematerialized. Books are dematerialized. You don't have to own them physically. That's dematerialization law. After that, an integration law. It means, if possible, just one device. One device does it all. For the moment, you can see on my desk, there are two. Laptop computer and phone. 10 or 20 years ago, Apple and other tech industry bosses believed the tablet will replace both laptop and phone. It did not work. There is still this integration law. Every technology tends to concentrate in just one device. And for sure, one day it will. But for different reasons. The main one is the screen, the size of the screen. Probably the next technology will be not a material screen, but something projected. And it will be smaller than a laptop. So miniaturization and integration. And there is a fourth law. So you have miniaturization, dematerialization, integration, and the last one is, we have seen it, simplification. Simpler is better. Make it as simple as possible. The legend goes that Steve Jobs asked his technical teams to make the device, telephone, with just one button. And you can check that. A lot of devices, there is only one button. And it requires some trials to find how to use it, to press it twice or a certain number of times, or to keep it a certain time, or anything else. But just with just one button, you can do a lot of things. And opposed to that, before, you had to write a terribly complex code line to do the simplest copy of a file. So, simplification. Simpler is better. And all these co-evolution trends, they tend to concentrate in two phenomena. One is, I would call it informatilization. Everything is turned into information. Because we don't own books. The problem is not the book. The problem is the information in the book. And this information exists in electronic form on our hard drives, or in the cloud, or we don't even know where and how. What we know is not a book by Kant, it is the information in it. And the information in it is nowhere and everywhere if you have a device to access it. So this transforming of everything into information, and I extrapolate maybe the human mind too. The human mind, which is now in the human brain. You see in science fiction that what matters in it is the information in it. So if you can extract the information from a human brain, the brain has no importance at all. You can put the information that is in the mind of the person in a computer, or in another brain, or everywhere and nowhere in the cloud. So the transformation of everything into information is the dominating phenomenon of modern technology. And for the user, there is another trend, which is personalization. That is to say, my own technology. Not everyone having the same car, the same house, and so on. No. We all have personalized desktops, phones, and so on. Everything, and more, the evolution of technology is towards personal items and specialized uses. Consequence of that, the profile of one's smartphone gives a fairly complete view of its total existence. I suppose everyone is terrified when you have lost your smartphone, because you imagine that inside your smartphone there is everything about you. What can be found and what can be learned from the personalization of a simple smartphone? For instance, as for me, I check, is there an agenda or not? Is the person organized, working or not? Are there social networks or not? And which social network? There is TikTok, Facebook. Maybe there is not even WhatsApp. So I know what the person is. If someone says, on my phone there is no Facebook, no WhatsApp, nothing, I know a lot about this person. Are there games? Well, I confess, on my phone there are no games. So it tells a lot about me and my life. Are there dictionaries, foreign language dictionaries? Well, I suppose you know that. In ancient times, you have to carry dictionaries. And if you can read in 3 or 4 languages, it makes a lot of dictionaries to carry. Now in the phone, you have a free, powerful dictionary of any language. So is the smartphone used? You can see that in it as a dictionary, and of how many languages. It tells a lot on the user. Is artificial intelligence used on that phone? Siri for Apple or Google Android or not? Is there music in it? And what is the audio software used? Well, in technology, when you know what kind of audio system someone uses on his desktop or smartphone, you have a vision of his cultural and technological profile. And so on and so on. Conclusion for this part. The technosphere is at the same time a global system. It depends on satellites and computers in California or whatever. But at the same time, it's the intimacy. It's our very intimate life. And our smartphones are normally very private, intimate information. Is very private information. And there is all this global and intimate is intricate. There is a strong connection. Because to reach my intimacy, messages for instance, I need the global. I need an internet connection. And in the global technosphere, there are the data of my most intimated private life. This is an entirely new situation due to the technosphere and with strong moral consequences.